There is no such thing as the scientific method. The science you know is dead. There's no scientific method because there is a structure to science, the way that we build up scientific arguments. Pieces of evidence that you gather with the scientific method is just a way to collect the evidence. But that's not where science stops. It's actually just where science begins. The biggest thing about science is that you make publications. You share it with the world. You make sure that the rest of the world knows what you're doing. At least, that's the intention. The way that we collect these pieces of evidence is different for each individual scientific endeavor that you go through. So it doesn't really matter about a scientific method. What it really matters is how you use the evidence you've collected to build up an argument inside of science. You might actually see a hypothesis as an educated guess. But I would say what you probably think of as a hypothesis is really just a prediction. Because most of the time people have it as an if-then statement. And that if-then statement is more like along the lines of a prediction or a law, as we will get to later on. This if-then statement is actually just half of a hypothesis. You're missing the because, the theory part of it. The because is where you take the if, then, and lock it in with an explanation, a because statement. If, then, and a because statement. This part functions like your prediction, an if, then. This is more like a law. And the bottom part functions as an explanation. This is more like a theory. This is actually your full claim. This is what you're trying to produce. If the evidence actually supports your hypothesis, then you start to build an argument. And that argument is what we're actually trying to get to in science. If you have pieces of evidence that don't support it, you might have to get rid of the entire hypothesis. You might have to get rid of your prediction and your explanation. But we're not done yet. Only thing that you have here is a claim supported by evidence. Just information. And the biggest part of this is setting it up with your justifications. You have to justify why you think that this evidence supports this claim. The if, then, because statement that you had originally at your hypothesis becomes your claim. The evidence is lined up to support that, and at the end you have your justification that it all rests upon. This is how we build scientific arguments. Science is dead the way that you think of it. Science isn't just a scientific method that we go through and have to collect data, and then that data speaks for itself. It doesn't. You have to build an argument.